Ryan Poles has the most important decision of his life coming up this offseason as general manager. Is he going to stick at number 1 and draft Caleb Williams, a very talented quarterback prospect, restart the quarterback clock, or is he going to trade back from number 1 again and build around Justin Fields and get an absolute haul? In this video, I'll be giving you guys my official prediction for what I think Ryan Poles is going to do. Football fans, Super Bowl 58 here, and this is the last weekend to get your football bets in. I've actually partnered with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official betting partner of the NFL, to give you guys a great promotion for new customers, where if you don't have an account with them yet, download the app. The link is in my description box in the pinned comment as well. And if you sign up using promo code TheWindyCity, if you put $5 on anything on the app, you get $200 in bonus bets instantly. It's that easy. So a great way to get a start to your bankroll if you're new to betting or if you're new to DraftKings Sportsbook. And if you're wondering what you can use your $200 bonus bets on, they have a bunch of different betting options on the app. One of them is called Same Game Parlays, which is pretty cool, where you can combine a bunch of different things in a single game. For example, passing yards for one player with, rushing yards for one player, with touchdowns for one player, whatever they offer in that game. If you combine a bunch of different things in a game, the odds can go pretty high, and it's a pretty cool way to, have fun watching a game. And what better game to do that than for Super Bowl 58, where the stakes are super high for each team. And if you already have DraftKings Sportsbook downloaded like I do, no problem, because they have something for you guys as well. They have a promotion going on for Super Bowl 58. You actually get a bonus bet equivalent to your initial wager when you bet on Super Bowl 58. Max reward limits do apply for that, keep that in mind. But a really cool promotion to take advantage of. If you're located in a state where sports betting is not legal right now, there's something for you guys as well. It's called DraftKings Daily Fantasy, which is a little bit different, but you can have a lot of fun using that app as well to have the chance to win daily cash prizes. But download the app down below, guys. The link is in my description box in the pinned comment as well. If you sign up, use the promo code TheWindyCity. If you put $5 on anything on the app, you get $200 in bonus bets instantly, only on DraftKings Sportsbook. What's going on, guys? I'm back with another Chicago Bears discussion video, which I'll be doing periodically throughout this offseason. So subscribe to my channel if you guys want my thoughts and my reactions on Bears news and just discussion topics about the Bears. I'll be coming out with a lot of videos this offseason because it's going to be one of the most important offseasons in the history of the Chicago Bears. My mock offseason video should be out in a couple weeks, by the way, where I'll be going through all my projected moves for the Bears. I know you guys show a lot of love on that video every single year, so that video should be out relatively soon. But in this video, I'll be doing what I've been pushing off for a long time as a Bears fan. Okay, I've been trying to push this video off as long as I possibly could, because I honestly hate discussing this topic with how toxic Bears fans have been over this topic since early September of last year. Every single day, Bears fans have been fighting non-stop over Justin Fields versus Caleb Williams, being super toxic online, calling each other names, hurling threats at each other. Like, what the hell has our fan base been doing for the past couple months? It does not make any sense at all to me why Bears fans are so freaking, mad at each other over their opinions on this matter. And I'm sure in the comment section down below, we're going to be having a lot of people fighting with each other and people getting angry at me too for the opinions I'm about to say in this video, just because for whatever reason Bears fans cannot handle each other's different opinions. But it was about time I made this video, because obviously Ryan Poles has to decide what he's going to do at the quarterback spot in the next couple weeks. I do think that Poles is going to make a decision relatively soon, by the end of February or maybe early March. Kind of like last year, he traded the number 1 overall pick on March 10th, I believe, right before the new league year started. I think the new league year starts March 13th or March 14th, somewhere around that day. So I think early March, might be the time where we either trade Justin Fields or trade the number 1 overall pick, because that's right after the scouting combine, after we've had a chance to talk with Caleb Williams, interview him, really do a deep dive into these quarterback prospects. And I think it benefits all parties to get this decision done before the new league year begins, because Justin Fields presumably does not want to be waiting until draft day to see if he's going to stick on the Bears. And same with the acquiring team that acquires Justin Fields. You're going to want to know if they have to go out and sign a Kirk Cousins or a different veteran quarterback, or if they have Justin Fields already on the team. That affects their free agency decisions, and it affects the Bears' decisions as well. Okay, we'd like to know, as soon as possible if we want to build around this quarterback or build around Caleb Williams. And by the way, like in this video, I won't be talking about Drake May or Jaden Daniels, but they could be options for the Bears as well in a trade back scenario. Okay, I don't think they're as likely options as drafting Caleb #1 overall, but they're certainly possible. It is the NFL, and maybe Poles falls in love with the Drake May or Jaden Daniels, or maybe even a JJ McCarthy, and trades back even further, which I hope that doesn't happen, but anything is possible in the NFL. But in this video, I'll be focusing mostly on Caleb versus Justin Fields and talking about the pros and cons of each outcome. Okay, what the pros are of keeping Fields, what the pros are of drafting Caleb, and what the cons are of, keeping Fields and drafting Caleb Williams. And at the end, I'll be giving you guys my official prediction for what I think the Bears are going to do. So let's get into it. All right, let's begin by talking about the pros of keeping Justin Fields. And the #1 pro is that the locker room absolutely freaking loves him. Okay, if you talk to any Bears player on this team right now, basically all of them would go to war for Justin Fields. Our #1 receiver, DJ Moore, absolutely loves him. He wants to see him back. Virtually everybody on the defense believes in him too. And even though you guys can say, that stuff doesn't matter, it does matter to some extent, right? Like locker room chemistry, locker room morale does matter. And even though I'm sure they would be okay with drafting a quarterback, if that quarterback did play well, that respect and admiration for Justin Fields is already there. A rookie quarterback would have to go in and earn it. And, Fields has earned the respect of his teammates by bleeding with them, by fighting with them the last couple of years, even through some very tough times. Fields never complained. It was a fantastic leader of the team the entire time. Okay, his entire time in Chicago, he's been nothing but an extraordinary human being and a guy that players look up to in the locker room. That cannot be understated. The second biggest pro then of keeping Justin Fields is that he's still an extremely talented quarterback. Okay, even though I know there has been a lot of ups and downs, it's not been the most consistent thing in the world. That's why we're even debating this right now, either drafting a quarterback or keeping him. If he did break out as a passer, we would not be talking about this whatsoever. I fully understand those things, but we still have to acknowledge the highs with Justin Fields are super freaking high. Okay, when he is at his best, he's looking like one of the most talented quarterbacks, one of the best quarterbacks in football. The problem has been we have not been able to get any sort of consistency from him. But if you truly do believe in Shane Waldron as an offensive mind, and by the way, this is the same guy that revived the career of Geno Smith, working with a more talented quarterback in Justin Fields, you gotta, still think that chance of a breakout still exists. Okay, still only 24 years old. The Bears put him in a terrible position to succeed early on in his Bears career with starting a full-blown rebuild in year 2. Like, that cannot be good for any quarterback's development. So even though time is ticking, this is still a quarterback with very high potential, very high upside that I feel like still has not been fully unlocked. And with the right team, with the right play caller, it could be unlocked on the Chicago Bears. The third biggest pro then of keeping Fields is that you get to acquire multiple picks and star assets for the #1 overall pick. And this might actually be the biggest pro of keeping him, because even if you don't think Fields can be a top 5 quarterback, the Bears could build an absolute super team around Justin Fields from trading back from the #1 pick. Okay, according to reports from Adam Schefter, the Bears could be getting as much as 2 first-round picks to trade back 1 spot in the draft. Okay, only trading back to #2 could net the Bears 2 first-round picks. So you got to imagine, like, trading back even further could give the Bears 3 first-round picks, multiple second-round picks, a star player, just like we got in DJ Moore last year. Like, the Bears could build such a stacked roster that any quarterback we have could have success with that roster, especially a talented quarterback like Justin Fields. Like, you don't think if you put Justin Fields on a talented super team like, the Niners roster, like, he's not going to have success? I think he would have success on a roster that stacked. And then the fourth biggest pro of keeping Fields is that you get to build continuity from last year. Okay, I know that Bears fans sometimes hate to hear the word continuity, but in professional sports, continuity can matter a lot, especially for a young building team like the Chicago Bears. Okay, if they want to start over from scratch, sometimes that can take a hit on what you've been building here in Chicago, right? Like, the Bears were super hot down the stretch last year, and maybe we want to keep on building on that, on top of that, keep on adding more players, and still keep that same quarterback that, a lot of the teammates do believe in. But now talking about the cons of keeping Justin Fields. Okay, what could be the downsides of keeping him? Well, the biggest one is that there's a chance he never reaches his full potential, his full ceiling as a quarterback. There's a chance that he keeps on being a very inconsistent up and down quarterback, even with a better team. And even though with a better team, I think we're going to make the playoffs regardless, there's a chance he's not good enough to beat star quarterbacks in the playoffs as a passer. The stats are the stats, and Justin Fields' passing stats are just not good so far during his time in the NFL. He's been a very inconsistent passer. Some games he's been very on, other games he's been very off, and he still has so many bad habits as a quarterback. His footwork sometimes is not the cleanest. Sometimes he holds on to the football way too long. Sometimes he's missing open guys in the middle of the field because he refuses to attack the middle of the field oftentimes for whatever reason, right? So there are a lot of flaws in his game as a passer, which maybe will not be corrected because not every good college quarterback is able to translate his game to the NFL level. The second biggest con of keeping Justin Fields is that even if he does break out as a star quarterback next year, you gotta pay him immediately, okay? The very following year, you're gonna have to pay him at least 40, 45, 50 million per year if he does have a true breakout season, because that's the price for even an average quarterback. Like Daniel Jones is making 40 million per year, and Daniel Jones is barely average at this point in time. So if Justin Fields does break out, you have to pay him 45, 50 million per year, which could take a hit on the overall team building that Ryan Poles can do when you have to pay that quarterback all that money. The third biggest con of keeping Justin Fields is that he's going to have a fourth different play caller in the last 5 years of playing football. Okay, I don't care who you are, which quarterback you are, that is so freaking difficult to have 4 different play callers in 5 years. Okay, Ryan Day, Matt Nagy, Luke Getsy, and then now Shane Waldron. And yes, if he goes elsewhere, it's going to be the same story. Like, he's going to have a different play caller than he did last year, unless he joins Luke Getsy and the Raiders, which is not going to happen. But historically speaking, the odds of a young quarterback blossoming into a superstar after having so much instability during the first 4 years of his NFL career are just not that high at all. Okay, we don't see quarterbacks really succeed after having this much instability with so many different play callers early on in their NFL career. Okay, Justin Fields would have to break some pretty big odds to become a superstar and be a top 10 quarterback after having this many different play callers. And then finally, the last con of keeping Justin Fields is that the situation is going to be so freaking toxic from the fan base and the media if we keep Justin Fields here, and especially if Caleb Williams, Drake May, or any of the other rookie quarterbacks have really good rookie seasons. Every single Justin Fields pass, every single Justin Fields play is going to be hyper analyzed compared to the rookie quarterbacks, and fans are just going to have no patience whatsoever. He won't be allowed to make any mistakes, have any bad games, because at this point in year 4, Bears fans are kind of sick of waiting, and I'm just not sure if that's a healthy environment for this quarterback to be here. Okay, going elsewhere and starting fresh might be best for Justin Fields because that pressure from the fan base would not be as high immediately because he would be starting brand new, with a change of scenery, where in Chicago, it still could be the same toxic environment from the fan base and from the media. Now let's talk about Caleb Williams, one of the most talented quarterbacks to come out of the draft in the last couple years. What are the pros and cons of drafting him? And the first big pro, obviously, is that he is a quarterback with an absurdly high ceiling. Okay, I'm talking about top 5, top 10 quarterback potential just because of how supremely talented he actually is. He can throw the ball at any arm angle with multiple different velocities. He can throw the ball to any level of the field, any area of the field, and be very accurate with it. He has a lightning fast release, has pretty good pocket presence. If you look at his film, he somehow knows where the pressure is coming from in the pocket, which is, I think that's just a natural trait to have, which you either have it or you don't. And Caleb Williams knows where the pressure is coming from, knows exactly where to step and when to escape the pocket. He only escaped the pocket when he absolutely had to, according to the stat I'll put on the screen right now, where you can see his scramble rate on unpressured plays was actually pretty low. And you can see Justin Fields was pretty high during his last year in college football. So I think that's a good, contrast there, where you can see Caleb Williams, for the most part, does want to play in the pocket when he can. But unfortunately, that supporting cast at USC sometimes forced him to play hero ball far too often, which he did. Okay, he did elevate the rest of his team and play hero when he had to, and just made insane, extraordinary plays out of structure, which very few players in college football ever have made some of these throws that Caleb Williams has made before. So that's my second biggest pro as well, okay? The fact that he did have to elevate some mediocre supporting cast at USC. Besides for Jordan Addison during his Heisman winning campaign, he didn't have the star playmakers and star offensive line that Justin Fields had in college. Okay, he had to make up for some pretty poor supporting cast at times, which I think is a good trait to have in a quarterback, because in the NFL, it's rarely going to be perfect. You're going to have games where your number one option is injured or your number one option left in free agency. Like, it's not always going to be a star supporting cast like the 49ers have or the Dolphins have for your quarterback. Sometimes you're going to have supporting casts like Mahomes has this year, especially if you do pay that quarterback eventually, right? So the fact that Caleb already has some experience working with lesser talented supporting cast, lesser talented offensive lines as well, does make me think his chance of succeeding in the NFL could be higher than those that had everything perfect for them in college football. And obviously, Caleb, the second year at USC, did lose a lot of games, but that was partly due to how terrible of a defense he had. And I know that kind of contradicts my statement about having to have everything perfect for him, but at least like on the offensive side of the football, Caleb still put together a lot of points, a lot of yards, passing yards. And the Bears right now do have a good defense, right? So I'm more so saying, like, compensating for the lack of offensive playmakers and offensive line, like, Caleb has shown to do that. So I think he can maybe do that also at the NFL level. The third pro of drafting Caleb Williams, obviously, is that you get to restart the quarterback clock, something that everybody loves to talk about for good reason, because having all that extra cap space as a GM can be so beneficial to building your overall team. You have so much more money to work with. You're only going to be paying Caleb Williams about 10, 11 million per year as a number one overall pick, compared to having to pay a Mahomes 50 million per year, or having to pay a Herbert 50 million per year, right? Or even a Daniel Jones that's not even as good as those guys is making 40 million per year. So you just have so much more money to work with. And especially if Caleb Williams can be a star quarterback, then he becomes the most valuable asset in the NFL, like a CJ Stroud, for example, because he's going to be elevating the team, providing high level play at a very, very cheap price for the next 4 years. So that's a big pro I have for drafting Caleb. The fourth pro I have on my list is that this team is actually set up pretty well for a rookie quarterback to come in and succeed immediately. Okay, we're not nearly as bad as most teams with the number one overall pick are, because we did not get the number one overall pick with our own pick. Okay, it's from the Carolina Panthers, a different team, and we won 7 games ourselves. So this team has a lot of young talent on it on both offense and defense. You already got your number one receiver in DJ Moore. You have the opportunity to add more talent through the NFL draft with pick number 9. Don't forget about that pick. We have other picks in later rounds. We're probably going to get a second round pick from trading Justin Fields if we do end up trading Justin Fields. And you have so much cap space as well. You can pay a star edge, you can pay a center, you can pay a receiver number 3. You can fill in a lot of holes on this team through this offseason. This team doesn't have nearly as many holes, I feel like, as people are saying. Yes, it is a flawed team right now, but a lot of those flaws can be filled in during this offseason. And we also hired an offensive coordinator in Shane Waldron that has prior play calling experience. So this actually is a pretty good situation for a rookie quarterback to go into, which I feel like people are not talking about nearly enough. It's not even close to as bad of a situation as Justin Fields or Mitch Trubisky had during their rookie years, which I think gives Caleb Williams a much higher chance of succeeding than those other rookie quarterbacks that we ruined. Talking about the cons of drafting Caleb Williams now, one of the biggest cons is that you're passing on multiple future first round picks and star premium players and assets, right? Like, if you trade the number one overall pick, you're going to be getting the biggest haul probably in NFL history. So you have to be sure drafting Caleb Williams is worth it. Otherwise, the opportunity cost of drafting him is pretty freaking substantial. I know it's not our own pick. This is the Carolina Panthers pick. It's basically a free pick, but still, you have to make the most out of that pick. And drafting a quarterback there is only worth it if you think that quarterback is going to be a superstar. Another con is that rookie quarterbacks often make mistakes during their first year, and this Bears team right now is ready to start winning football games right now, right? Like, the Bears team last year took massive steps forward on defense especially and won 7 games. It easily could have been 10 games if not for 3 massive blown leads. So the expectation for the Bears, no matter what, no matter even if it's a rookie quarterback, probably are going to be to make the playoffs, and that's going to be a lot more difficult with a rookie quarterback. Okay, I don't care who that rookie quarterback is, unless you get very lucky with a CJ Stroud type of rookie season, it can make it more difficult to make the playoffs during that first year. Now, long term, it could end up being more beneficial to the Bears to draft Caleb, but in the short term, historically speaking, it's hard to make the playoffs and make a deep playoff run as a rookie. The third con then of drafting Caleb is that he definitely has flaws in his game. Okay, I don't think he's per se a generational prospect, even though some people do think he is, which I can see why they think it. He does have flaws in his game in sometimes trying to play out of structure too much. I know I talked about him being a good pocket passer, but sometimes he did try to do too much, fumbled way too much in college, had some very bad moments against that Notre Dame game on primetime television, which brought into question his ability to play against top competition, which I think is a fair point to bring up. But if you look at other talented quarterback prospects, even like a Andrew Luck in college, if you look at his stats versus top 25 competition, it wasn't that good. But the point I'm trying to make is that, Caleb definitely does have flaws in his game, and some people question his toughness and his ability, to be a mature leader of a franchise as well. I know that clip went viral of him crying, in his mom's arms, after that game against Washington, which, first of all, I don't care, if you cry, right? Like, players have emotions. I'm okay with players expressing their emotions. I mean, that shows he really cares about the game, right? But I do know some people, maybe some fans, have the concern, is he going to be able to handle Chicago with how tough our media can be, how tough our fan base can be. Fields was a very stoic, unemotional guy, where Caleb Williams is the exact opposite. He's a very big personality that wears his emotions on his sleeve, and he also has a dad that loves to talk a lot. His father has been, making headlines in the past just for his comments about, Caleb Williams and what he thinks about him. I'm not saying that he's going to be like a LeVar Ball type of father, but he definitely does have a big personality, as does his son, which I know that Ryan Poles is going to have to take into account all that stuff and see if he can actually be the face of this franchise in Chicago. It's very, very tough to succeed here, and you have to have it right mentally to succeed here. So that's going to be a pretty big question to answer. And then finally, the last con I have of drafting Caleb is that there's the chance that Justin Fields goes elsewhere and immediately lights it up. Okay, there's a chance that we just gave up on him 1 year too early, and that would be a terrible look on the Bears franchise to have a quarterback that was so talented in our own building and have him succeed right away. That's certainly possible, and people are going to be comparing Justin Fields and Caleb Williams constantly throughout the next season, which really isn't fair to Caleb because he's only going to be a rookie, but that's going to be something that's going to happen right when you have him already in the building. And the fact that you could have gotten a big haul to trade back and build around Fields, that would be a bad look in the Bears franchise if that were to happen. With all that being said, it's time to give you guys my official prediction. What do I think Ryan Poles is actually going to do? And my official prediction, guys, is that Ryan Poles is going to trade Justin Fields and draft Caleb Williams at number 1 overall. I know a lot of fans are going to be against that because we all wanted Justin Fields to work out here. And I'm still super freaking bummed that it's gotten to this point where we have to even discuss moving off of a quarterback that I was so insanely happy to draft. That was one of my happiest moments being a Bears fan, when we drafted Justin Fields. But I think that Ryan Poles is going to be blown away by Caleb Williams. He mentioned earlier that he'd have to be blown away by a quarterback prospect to move off of Justin Fields. I think that Caleb Williams is that quarterback prospect that he's going to be blown away by, because the film is freaking insane. I know that he has flaws, but he is one of the most talented quarterback prospects I have seen in the last couple of years, and a lot of evaluators around the NFL seem to agree. And I think that Poles, coming from an organization that drafted Patrick Mahomes back in 2017, I'm not trying to compare Caleb to Mahomes, obviously, but some of the off-platform throwing ability, the different arm angles, the velocity changing, the ability to attack all areas of the field, make plays off script, like some of that is a little bit similar to the guy he helped draft in 2017. And most importantly, he gets to restart the quarterback contract with his own guy, a guy that he went and chose himself. Fields, he did not draft Fields, okay? He was assigned Fields when he came here to the Chicago Bears, and he passed up on a quarterback last year. This year, I don't think he's going to pass up on a quarterback again, which, no knock on Justin Fields at all, guys. Like, I still think that Justin Fields is going to have a very successful NFL career, and I still freaking hate how this franchise did him dirty, and I'm going to be a big Fields fan wherever he goes, but I just think his time in Chicago, unfortunately, probably is over, okay? We're getting so many reports around the NFL from trusted sources like Adam Schefter, Brad Biggs, Ian Rappaport. Like, virtually everybody agrees that Ryan Poles is staying at number 1 and drafting Caleb. It's a lot different than last year when we got so many reports about the Bears probably trading the number 1 overall pick. We're not getting those reports this year, and I think that it just makes too much sense for Ryan Poles to move on from Fields at this point in time, which again really hurts my heart to say this. I love Justin Fields. I still wish we could make it work here in Chicago, but I believe that Ryan Poles is going to start over with his own guy at number 1 overall, and that's probably going to be Caleb Williams. Leave your comments down below. I'm sure it's going to be a toxic hellhole in the comments like it always is when Caleb Williams versus Justin Fields is discussed, so try not to kill each other too much in the comments section. But guys, I just want what's best for the Bears, okay? I don't care who the quarterback is. I just want to start winning some games. So whatever Ryan Poles decides, I'm going to be supporting the decision, but right now I do think Caleb is going to be the guy. Leave your comments down below. As always, bear down.